the boys chat and see if I can grab a couple people.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
hey, if you want to hear people talk about Wodapalooza,
people have been asking us to do this, to do a Wodapalooza pre-show, and it's definitely a busy night in the
yes,
ecosystem. So we obviously know that WOD Prep's going on about an hour from now, and Boys Interrupted are live right now, which is fine. This is the time we could do it.
yeah, exactly. So we're at 0 live views, so hopefully we'll get one in. Otherwise, it'll just be me and you talking. That's how it is. But
people catch up with it as we build into Wodapalooza. It's Monday night, and I'm leaving tomorrow morning to go out there, and then you're leaving the next day. So this was pretty much the only time we could do it.
Yeah, kind of, and put it out there. But yeah, I mean, like you said, people have been asking us to do this. I mean, we've been doing it since we started. So, but I think we should just go ahead and tell people what our role is at Wodapalooza. So, Brian, go ahead and take it away.
Yeah, we're going to be doing.
We are doing the broadcast. Just kidding. Go ahead, Brian. We're not doing the broadcast.
No, but we're hopefully supporting it. We're going to be on site, primarily on the experience stage, which it's a pretty good location in Miami.
By the food court.
Central location there. So there'll be live shows for people on site and also streamed online on Wodapalooza's YouTube channel. And we'll do pre and post shows bracketing the elite competition, which on Thursday and Friday is going to be the individuals. And on Saturday and Sunday will be for the teams. I think on Thursday we'll have 2 shows, a pre-show even prior to the open announcement, and then a post-show to wrap up the day there. And Friday we'll have 4 shows, like a morning and afternoon, and then a morning pre and post and an afternoon pre and post. Same on Saturday. And then Sunday, similar. We may or may not do the show on Sunday night just because it's late. A lot of things are breaking down. A lot of stuff is going on, but TBD on that one. So 13 or 14 shows over 4 days.
Yeah. And by we, he means it's going to be basically a partnership between the Barbell Spin and B.Friendly Fitness. And we will have 2 hosts. And one of the hosts is Mr. Brian Friend, and the other host is
Mr. John Young.
Exactly. So that's where the collaboration will be coming in. So it'll be very interesting. I know you guys have some bets going on who will have the better picks from the weekend, and and I believe the spin will be putting out those picks here probably next couple of days, probably Wednesday or Thursday. I imagine Wednesday regarding that. But and they'll have a show on Wednesday. I guess JY, he's flying in on Wednesday, right?
I think he's coming Thursday morning.
Okay, so he'll do
that show till the afternoon, so he should be able to make the trip over from Houston just fine.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, I mean, I'm excited about this. I feel in some ways I feel like it's 4 years in the making.
Yeah,
and obviously the last 2+ years have been a little bit dodgy, rocky, so to speak. But we did those shows at Andrew's house a month or so ago, and as a part of those shows, we talked about actually like. Top 100 is very difficult to quantify. There's no real way to do that. That's mostly just to give a good overview of athletes who could be relevant in their competitive seasons this year. But we identified 4 major competitions for the year. And on the individual men's and women's sides, we'll be making picks head to head. We have since settled on a scoring system, which we'll talk about on the first show down in Miami. And I think also that we'll post our picks Thursday because there's still one open spot on the women's side actually be filled, and there's always a chance that because it's Wodapalooza, like there's a lot of athletes who are on site who may not be competing, and so if a lane opens up, sometimes you can find someone to fill in, and we want to since we're scoring it, especially if that happens to be a notable athlete, we want to give ourselves a chance to make that last minute change. So I've made the picks with the people that are in play, but I haven't. We haven't posted them yet because we're kind of waiting to see if there's a last minute change.
Yeah, we'll talk about that change and why there's a spot open. But yeah, pretty excited about it. I know this is something, like you said, 4 years in the making. I think having the 2 basically lead analysts in the sport, on site, and it's not only that, we'll have guests throughout the week too. We have guests from, Brent Fikowski, Patrick Vellner, Con Porter, well, just a bunch of guests. And that's the thing is like it'll be really fun to kind of hear your guys' thoughts on not just the event, but also like on the athlete, but also just everything that involves that and bringing those athletes.
And it's also a big deal, like a big year for Wodapalooza. New title sponsor, second year in a new venue, first time in March. And like anyone who runs competition knows, year one at a venue, regardless, is going to be a challenge. But it was also a really cold, windy, rainy, like tough circumstances last year.
Yeah, we know.
Maybe there'll be some rain, but it's March. It's better weather overall. Second year, even from the little flyover they posted the other day of the initial setup, like I can just tell, knowing what it looked like last year and what they've allotted for there. I'm guessing it's the lifting stage. It looks totally different than last year. It's really laid out. Looks like a better viewing experience. So we'll also bring some insights on that front. We'll have athlete guests, some personalities, maybe some other competition organizers, other media. So it should be a fun week.
T-Bird, the reason why we're doing this is because of you. But we understand. That's why, we also know T-Bird, and a lot of people, they consume our podcast by downloading it off all the major platforms or watching it later. So that's what we're trying to do. We're just trying to get out there. So don't feel torn. Go on with your life. We appreciate you there. But you are the reason why we are doing this show specifically. But
well, and the last thing I'll say about John is,
that'd be good.
Years ago when he used to come on a couple times a year with me and Sevan, and looking back on it now, of course, it's always easier to look at backwards. I felt like it was like an unfair playing field. Like we were almost inviting him on just to like beat him up.
Yeah.
When it wasn't really fair for him or what he deserved. Like he has always been very, very passionate and knowledgeable about the upper echelon of this sport. And I think that the break that was sort of forced upon me from that group gave him a lot of like runway to take off, establish himself. And obviously let's be honest, he's on 2 shows now on a weekly basis between Wad Prep and Barbell Spin that are getting way more engagement and views than most of the stuff that I would do in a public setting. But it was super fun to do those shows with him in Andrew's basement, because it was fun in the same way that, happy birthday, by the way, to Tommy Marquez, that I did that first show with Tommy Marquez in 2018 in Sevan's office when he wasn't there. Matt hosted it. And I felt this way throughout all the Talking Elite Fitness episodes I did, is that when you get 2 of the leading experts in the sport in the same conversations, that everyone's level kind of rises.
Yeah.
And at the same time, if you're trying to like keep up with people who actually know that much about it, it's just tough. And so you either don't have a voice or you do look like you're not sure what you're talking about. And there's not a ton of people that know enough about the sport and the athletes and speak about it regularly enough to kind of balance that out. There's maybe like a half dozen that come to mind that might be able to fit into that category. But John's definitely up there, and I didn't know if he'd say yes to it, but when I kind of presented it to him, he seemed really eager right away, and so
I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. Like I said, it's been a while since and it'll just be really cool. I think it'll provide a new experience on site, and also provide some more. I think Wodapalooza's kind of been hit and miss when it comes to these pre-shows, and I'm like, I think what we'll have this year is it's going to be really cool. And it's going to be on their channel, and we're doing it for them. And then I think it, depending on the success of it, it'll just grow even better next year, maybe even SoCal and other things they have planned. So, but like I said, let's go ahead and what we're going to do is we're going to look at the workouts for the individuals.
One second, we'll look at just for T-Bird. John Young and I are doing pre and post shows at Wodapalooza live on site and streamed on their YouTube channel. It'll be at least 13 shows over 4 days. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, there we go. But yeah, we'll look at the workouts, then we'll look at the men's field individual, women's field individual, then we'll look at the team workouts, and then look at the men's teams, and then women's teams, and then we'll talk about maybe possibility 26.3, because obviously that is something that will be factor in very heavily with both the team and individual. Well, actually, every division that's competing at Wodapalooza, and then we'll kind of wrap the show up from there. So, yeah. So we will.
Those shows will be on Wodapalooza's YouTube channel, preceding and following their broadcasts.
Yeah.
Workout specifically, Wodapalooza for the elite individuals this year is again a 2-day competition, Thursday, Friday. There are 2 workouts scheduled for Thursday. The first one will be the open workout, which obviously we don't know. Then they'll have a second workout that evening, which Patrick is this one actually. No Easy Way Down. They're not. They're written as like workout 1, 2, 3, 4, but they're not necessarily in that order.
Yeah,
everyone. So they'll do workout what I call 0, the open workout, or O, and then workout 1 after that. I think that this is actually the time to talk about the open workout, though.
Yeah, let's go. Yeah, let's just talk about that now. So
because it is something that everybody who's competing at Wodapalooza, any division, is going to have the chance to do. And at the same time, there's thousands of athletes that are competing in several other competitions or workouts over the course of the competition weekend. And of course, it's the final week of the Open. So there's just a ton of things that we can cross off the list that are, obviously, if they've been in the Open, we're not going to see them again. And if they're immediately coming up in the competition, that's the individual competition starts at 4 p.m. on Thursday and ends by 8 p.m. on Friday. So you're talking about 28 hours to do 5 workouts. I really would be shocked if there's a single repeated movement over those 28, hours. So whatever's in the programming, I don't think is going to be in 26.3, and obviously whatever's in the Open. So there's not that much that's left, which is a little bit of a unique situation. So we'll kind of lay that down, and then as we look at the workouts, we'll back in what I think are the 2 most likely things that we'll see for 26.3.
And Dave has said that he has been in contact with the Wodapalooza people, specifically Dylan. There's only a handful of people that know what the workout is. Dylan is one of them. But he did kind of give them a kind of a basis, and his team a basis of what they'll need for the workout, and obviously not try to repeat movements. So as Wodapalooza probably had the workouts probably done before 26.3. So there's some communication there. So we do, like you said, there is some things we can deduct from that. And like I said, you have to plug all that in 28 hours. So we're not going to see we already did the Opens already has its long workouts. I mean, actually both the workouts have been pretty long in terms of time domains. So I think we're
pretty long in terms of that. And most people haven't finished either one.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. I mean, yeah, pretty much. Just
also not that long for the elite athletes,
correct.
We're talking about
especially 26.2
minutes, 16 minutes of total work. So,
but yeah, so so we'll go back to the first workout here. It's called what was it called again? No Easy Way Out.
No Easy Way Down.
Oh, No Easy Way Down. Okay. Indie Workout 1, presented by Gymreapers. It's for the elite, 4 sets of 3 minutes on, 1 minute off, 40 or 32 calorie row, men and women, 40 wall balls, 4 legless rope climbs, and then you got 30 to 24 calorie row, 30 wall balls, 3 legless rope climbs, down to 20, 2 legless rope climbs, 10 and 8, 10 wall balls, 1 legless rope climb. And so the wall balls all will be heavier, 30 and 20 pounds. So that's, that's something we've talked about before. And I believe the rope climb is 15 feet.
Yeah. So, this is one of these kind of work to rest ratios. You always have to start with the machines and the wall balls. They get less. Everything gets less. But actually, I don't think you have to always start with that. You just work your way through as far as you get, and then you start over wherever you ended. Is that what it looks like to you?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, once that time clock's done, you have to pick it up. You have to pick it up. You got to finish the work, I'd imagine.
Yeah, so it's one time through. So if if you're in the middle of your row on 30 cals, you got to get off your rower, I would assume, go back to a start line, and then come back and finish out your row. It's really that would be so brutal if you have 1 calorie left.
Thank God. Well, you better hope that last pull is that's a big pull then.
No kidding. Okay. But seriously, I mean, there's a little bit of a nuance of where you have to start again that could really be a good or a bad thing. So anyway, that's the first workout. And it will
because I think, I mean, just looking at that first round, 40 calories, 40 wall balls, 4 legless rope climbs. What's a high likelihood that someone finishes that in 3 minutes?
It should be close.
Yeah. I mean, the person I'm thinking of is like, just watch James Sprague in that first workout. He'd probably be the litmus test.
We're probably going to be saying that on like
a lot of these workouts.
Well, maybe not. I mean, it'll be interesting. Let's look at so day 1. We'll come back to the open, but we got open workout and then this.
We got wall balls, so some squatting, some rope climbs, upper body pulling, and a machine. So we'll go to.
Well, the first workout on Friday is going to be workout 5. It's called Complex Actually.
Yep.
And this is a nightmare of a workout.
Any workout. 4-time, 6 bar complexes, 6 sandbag complex, 15 sandbag burpee over the log, 6 sandbag complex, 1,200 meter beach run, and then it works back down. 6 sandbag complex, 15 sandbag burpee over the log, 6 sandbag complex, 6 bar complexes. Sandbags, 120 for the men, 90 for the women, and you're doing this all with a vest on. So this is brought to you by 511. And so the bar complex is 5 toe-to bars, 3 chest bars, 1 bar muscle up, and a sandbag complex is 1 clean plus 2 squats.
And I believe that each complex must be done unbroken in both instances. Okay. So if you come off the bar, I think you have to start over with the complex. I believe.
Let's see.
There's a 25-minute cap on this.
Yep, it says unbroken. So yeah.
There's a 25-minute cap on this, I believe, and I think that some of the athletes will get capped on this. I've spoken to a few athletes who were originally under the impression that this was an 18-minute cap, that they've since learned otherwise, and they didn't think that one had any chance of coming even remotely close to beating that. So I think 20, 21 minutes maybe, and that half the field could get capped on this workout.
Yeah.
It's going to be a grind and a tough start to Friday. But there it is. The nice thing is that it immediately after that is the heavy after dark workout.
Yeah. So that, but man, what a workout. And it's like, you put in there with the vest, and we saw how grueling that workout was last year when they did it on the beach. And that was just box step overs. There was some, I think that was toe-to bars, weren't they?
It was just bike, run, and box.
Bike. Yeah.
I think it was 2 rounds too many or something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But I mean, that a lot of athletes got capped on that. But yeah, I agree with you. I think this will be a very, very fun one to watch, as well as I mean, just.
I don't think it's going to be. I think it's going to be way more fun for the spectators than the athletes.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, definitely, definitely. So yeah, and I imagine the vest will be at 20 and 16. That's the standard for the weight vest for 511. So
is it 16 or 14?
I thought it might be 14. Yeah, it might be 14.
Man.
Yeah, maybe I'm thinking of wall balls or whatever. But yeah, so that's the first workout on Friday. So that's complex actually, and then it goes right into heavy after dark. And this one is for total combined load. 1 minute on, 3 minutes off of 3 sets. Buy-in, calorie bike into a 1 rep max clean and jerk. So set 1, the men have to do 21, women 15 calories. That's your buy-in, followed by 1 rep max clean and jerk. So you're going to be a little tired, maybe, or more, or adrenaline running. Set 2 will be 15 and 12 calories, and set 3, 12 and 9 calories.
Yeah, and obviously there's a huge premium on execution here, because you have a heavier clean and jerk than me. But if I just hit 3 bars, say it's 100 kilos, whatever, 225, great. That's my score. If you go for 275, hit, miss, I get a better score than you. So you have to make good choices here. and execute under a bit of fatigue against obviously we'll see the field and it's fairly competitive. So high premium here, and that's, keep in mind, that's the fourth workout in basically a day that you're doing.
Yep. Yeah. So here's the platform. So yeah, I actually, by the way, shout out to Wodapalooza for putting these descriptions and everything on here like this and really accessible and easy to do. All right. So after Heavy After Dark, we go right into.
Oh, the last workout of the competition for the individuals is workout 2. It's called Press and Impress.
Yes. Press and Impress. 3 rounds for time. 15 dumbbell bench press, 15 feet front rack dumbbell lunges, followed by 100-foot handstand walk. Looks like the dumbbells are 70 and 50 pounds, and it's 3 rounds for time.
Yeah, so a quick one. I mean, they've had, I think it was Pump Sesh Triplet was like the first iteration of this, and like there's been a very upper body pump focused workout for several years in a row now at Wodapalooza. In this case, for this division, it's the finale. And so what I see here, especially keeping in mind 28 hours, 5 workouts, is that, and then 3 rounds for time of just interference in terms of muscular fatigue, is that you could be in a situation battling for a win, battling for a podium or cash spot or something like that, top 10, and just hit failure and just watch those. Like if you're failing the dumbbell bench and the last 3 reps, there's not much you can do. You have to just rest and maybe watch as people go past you. So a very interesting finale where, it could be super excited. It's not a super long time. Patrick was just showing, but man, it could also be like tough to watch in some cases. What is this?
Yeah. Hold on a second. I was just looking at the RX workouts. Yeah, 8-minute cap on that workout on Press and Impress. That's a again a sprinty type workout to end it. And if it's anything like the last couple of years, it'll go down to that last workout with this competition.
Yeah, I mean, last year we had muscle ups right at the end, and they were a huge separator. I mean, 1 ring muscle up, 1 more for Emma Tall, she wins the competition. 1 more for Laura Horvath, she wins the competition. 1 less for Lucy Campbell, she doesn't win the competition. You might see something in the 100-foot handstand walk. Who knows what the sections are? If there's a mandated break, like that could be like a heel on the line type of a situation, costing someone the win. So a lot of premium for execution towards the back end of the competition with the 1 rep max clean and jerk, and then that pump sesh handstand walk to finish it out. But what Patrick was going to show you guys is that there's other workouts programmed for other divisions. And we want to just take a quick look at those because keep in mind, the elite athletes are not the only one doing the open workout. Yeah. So these other ones.
Let's look in Soaked in Sunshi. It's Indy Workout 6 for the RX. It's a 3K beach run into the water. Ooh, we haven't seen that since, what is that, 2019?
Dude, I remember going out there to those islands, and I did a live stream from there actually, and it was that was the biggest, the most chaotic scoring I've ever seen. Days to sort that out. Yeah. So I'm sure they have a much better system in place this time for cataloging everyone's start and finish times in the case that the chip timers don't all work perfectly.
And if you've been to Miami, well, it's usually in the winter. I don't know how the waves are now or how it is in this time of year. I mean, it's only a couple months than it normally is, but it's usually pretty choppy and hard to run in those. I mean, we're lucky a couple of years ago. The seas weren't that bad.
It was calm that day.
It was very calm, and I think it only went as high as waist high, right?
Thanks
for some people.
Have a great meeting. Yeah, for most people.
Yeah, and that's for Soaked in Sunshine. Sorry, they just misspelled it there. And then what was it? Shoulder check. Yeah. Workout 4 for RX. 40 heavy double unders, 25 hanging snatches, 60 heavy double unders, 18 hanging snatches. 80 heavy double unders, 12 hang snatches, and the load, you see the load right there, 115.75, 135.95, 155, 105. It progresses upwards, and that one's presented by the U.S. Army. So there's your double unders, and the reason why we bring that up is because we were going to just make some guesses on 26.3. And so what does that leave us? Because we all know every open workout or every open since what, 2009? 11, sorry, 2011 has included thrusters and some form of double unders, right?
I think so. I haven't kept track of it too much, but yeah, honestly, it doesn't leave much. And especially that last workout that you showed for all those other divisions takes away, because the teams, as we'll see, also have a bunch of heavy double unders. And so I don't think that we're going to see double unders in the open workout. I also, like the one thing when you look at the elite division programming, minus the workout that we just looked at, is that there's not a ton of barbell, right? You have a wall ball, you have a sandbag, you have a 1 rep max clean and jerk 3 times, and you have dumbbells. So to me, if you have a five competition workout and there's no barbells in the first, except for a 1 rep max, it seems like there should be a really good opportunity to have a lightweight or moderate weight barbell cycling. But then you look at that workout and it's exactly light to progressing moderate or moderately heavy weight barbell cycling of a snatch, which is also a super common lightweight movement in the open, with those double unders.
So maybe snatches is eliminated. That still leaves thrusters.
Thrusters could be in, but I think that it's actually more likely to be a deadlift.
Deadlift has been that's been a regular occurrence. I think the last time we checked, I forgot what it was, but it was like when we're morning chalk up, it's like the deadlift was one of the more common barbell movements in the outside of the thruster.
And I think that if you look at the totality of what this competition is, like rowing, wall balls, and rope climb, there's no pulling from the floor. Sandbag complex, you have to do the clean, but it's actually the squats that are twice as many as the cleans. And other than that, in this workout, there's no pulling from the floor. There's 1 rep max clean and jerk. Okay, yes, you're pulling from the floor for the clean, but that's not the limiter on that workout for anyone. And the final workout, no pulling from the floor. So I think that there's a high likelihood that the deadlift is in this workout. I don't think there's going to be any rig in this workout, given the bar complex and the legless rope climbs, and that we just did pull-ups, chest rep pull-ups, and muscle-ups. So, and also just from an ease of setup standpoint, my guess is that Dave said to them, "Hey, give me a floor that's got 50 feet or 40 feet and a space for a barbell." And I don't think you're going to need anything else for this workout. There are some
deadlifts and burpees over a bar.
Possibly. There are some burpees in the sandbag burpee over the log.
Correct.
But it's such a small part of that workout.
It's more of an odd object thing. It's not about the burpee on that.
And you could imagine a conversation going like, okay, or like, well, can we program burpees? And Dave could be like, I wouldn't program a ton of them, or something like that.
Sure.
And like, okay, we'll kind of weave them in here, but whatever. The other thing that I think that I had thought was a possibility, but this would require a rig, was some kind of handstand pushup, because there's no the upper body pressing, and it pairs well with the deadlift. But yeah, I would say the most likely movement, in my opinion, is a deadlift.
Yeah. Do you think, because obviously it's been out there, do you think what's in your opinion, what's the possibility of this 26.3 being a two-parter?
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. But I just don't think there's that would give you 6 scored events for the individuals, right?
Yeah, but I don't think it's necessary, for the open as a whole. And I think that for the sake of integrating with a totally different competition like Wodapalooza, that it's overcomplicating it.
Yeah.
And again, if there's a 2-part workout, it's always some kind of a lift, and they already have a max clean and jerk. They already have all those cycling of snatches. I don't think, I
Max deadlift for the second part. I don't know.
hope not. That's not
I do. Hey, guess what?
fastest open score of all time.
Yeah, no. That'll be my only open score. Will be 26.3.
Yeah.
And it'd just be the B part if it's a max deadlift, or even if it's deadlifts. I would, like I said, I if it's deadlifts, I'm happy. I'd be really excited about that. I might even bring my belt, or I would just get a belt there.
So I don't have like a perfect solution for this workout, but I do think that it could be a combination that I used to program for the football players when I was coaching in Texas all the time, which is running in the form of shuttle runs, deadlifts, and burpees. And that is a disgusting combination.
Yeah, that sounds terrible. The burpees part. I mean, I don't mind the shuttle runs and the deadlifts, but
yeah, but it could be one of those things where it's like it could also be like you kind of eliminate yourself with the deadlift weights getting heavy enough to the point, like we've seen with the Diane into the elevated Diane or Damn Diane or whatever it was, 2017 or 18. But anyway, where the deadlift gets heavy enough that it's kind of slows people in their tracks, but that the shuttle runs and the burpees stay the same every round. So you're on mute.
I'm 12 minutes behind and catching up. Sorry, but maybe open workout is actually longer. Only 2 workouts Friday, so maybe it is a little longer. Well, maybe.
The thing is like that workout. I can't remember the time cap of the one in the evening.
I believe it was.
They also have a lat am division, so they have to get lat am men through 2 heats of men, lat am women 2 heats of women through, and they have to repeat that. And they have less than 4 hours to do both of those things, plus resetting a floor or moving location potentially if it's a different floor. So I think it's going to be in the similar time domain as what we've seen already. And obviously for the best, it's a little bit faster. So that's the best guess on that. But the programming for the individuals, if there is something with a heavier barbell in there pulling from the floor, makes sense to me. And yeah, 5 workouts. I don't think they've announced the cash prize, but it's a small amount of time to potentially win a lot of money.
Definitely. So let's take a look at the field here. Like I said, this won't be your picks because you'll be doing those in conjunction with John. Where's that in Elite? Sorry, let me find the Elite here. It's here somewhere. I guess I can just go to Spin. He has them.
Well, are we talking about the men's field?
Yeah, I'll start with the men's field.
I mean, the kind of cool on the men's side is that a lot of the people who finished on the top 10 last year are back. James Sprague was last year's winner. He's coming back. Vellner was second. He's coming back. Hatfield was third. He's coming back. We had Yonakoski, who was fifth last year. He's in the field. Nick Matthew was 10th last year. Max Krieg was 9th last year. They're both in the field. I think that's it for the top 10 guys. And, so you got 4 of the top 5 and 6 or 7 of the top 10 returning. And I would say that if you're, if you're looking for a winner, you don't need to look very hard. I think that this is with this list of guys, nobody's on par with James Sprague in terms of overall fitness. He's probably going to be in the top of whatever comes out in the open workout. He's very good at that style workout. He's probably going to win the workout on Thursday night. He's probably going to win the workout on Friday morning. And this field does have a couple very strong people in it, but not enough that are really going to punish him on the clean and jerk over 3 rounds with a bike that is irrelevant for him. So it should actually be a pretty good score for him on a lifting event compared to most other.
James will finish near the top of that because, like you said, this field isn't very, very strong. I mean, I'd love to see what Ilya and Nick Matthew do.
Connor Volts, I think, has a 400-pound clean also. Hatfield's obviously strong.
Hatfield does as well, yep.
But it drops off after that. Whereas James can finish. Miko Lilliorg is pretty strong, but sometimes he goofs around and doesn't make you have to hit all 3 lifts. So I just think, and then it comes down to that pump.
And it's pounds. It's in pounds. They're going to have to do more math.
And James's muscular endurance is great for the final workout, even with the longer arms on the bench press. I don't think it's going to be an issue. Lunge and handstand walk, he's great. So I think he's the clear favorite here.
I still think, I know Austin, a lot of people have been, sleeping on Austin because he's been less than impressive the last, since Rogue, and, you know, didn't look the greatest in the first open workout. But I mean, if this is the Austin Hatfield from last year, this, at Wodapalooza, if he's if he's that version of himself, I love the workouts for him.
Like the one thing you can't knock Austin for is the confidence.
Yeah.
But post CrossFit Games last year, it hasn't been the same that we've seen it.
Sure.
Anytime he's shown up so far. So and it's not like he had 7 years of high level podium threat performances prior to that. So I need to see, like, I kind of need to see from Austin what I saw last year from Austin when we did our rankings, like I put him at the bottom of the top group, last 9 out of 10 or 9 out of 9 of those top 9 guys in the world that I perceived there to be. And he has the potential to be much higher than that, but he hasn't shown it in the past, couple times we've seen him out there. So I actually really like, these workouts for Max Krieg, man. I mean,
I was going to ask you, who's your dark horse in this? Like someone that, I'm not even saying dark horse podium, but someone that's going to sneak in there in the top 5. Do you think Max is that guy?
Yeah, I think Krieg has a chance to even potentially to podium. Like, Yonikos is going to be tough. Hatfield should be tough. Ty Jenkins should be tough. I don't think if you've been paying attention to what Vellner's doing, that he's going to be the typical guy that we see showing up to Wodapalooza. Otherwise, he would, be in the mix there. So I think that's like the short list of the really podium threats after James is Yona, Ty, Austin, and Max. The cool thing is that this field is really ripe with athletes who are high candidates to break out this season in general. And I would say 3 in particular are Nicholas Bidon, Ilya Mosalenko, and Connor Volz. Like these guys are all ascending. And I think that in terms of setting a tone for the season, this weekend, a good performance here could really catapult them into some more serious conversations, some more confidence, some good training blocks that could potentially lead to a great year.
Let's switch over to the women's side. Oh, sorry. There we go.
Well, we got another, again, like some of the top athletes from last year are coming back, including the winner, Lucy Campbell, including a woman who really felt like she should have won it last year in Emma Tall. She took 4th, but as I said, she was basically one muscle up away from winning it. And she's been 4th, 5th, and 7th the last 3 years there. Like she is good at Wodapalooza. Other people who were in the top 5 or top 10 last year, Elisa Fuliano was 5th, Danny Spiegel was 6th, and Abigail Domet was 7th. So again, we have some returning athletes from last season who had a really good competition. But I think that this is coming down to Lucy Campbell and Emma Tall for the win.
Yeah, I could definitely see that as well. Lucy's just on fire right now. I mean, this potentially, she has actually a couple things on the line here, not just Wodapalooza, but also the Open. I think right now she's in position to win the Open. And what better way to leave Miami with not only the payday from that, but also the payday from the Open. We're looking at something that could be potentially, I don't know what the payday is for Wodapalooza, but something over $50,000 just from,
if she wins the Open and Wodapalooza, she immediately feels validated in passing up on WFP contract this year. Just from a straight financial.
100%. Yeah.
She's basically.
And you're doing 20, you're winning that
back right now.
Yeah. And you've won that much money in 28 hours of work, like you said. 5 workouts.
I do think that there's an overall theme when I look at this list. That I'm actually really looking forward to breaking this down with John a little bit more, and that's that Europe could just completely crush this competition.
Oh yeah,
Matilda Gomez coming back into the field. Do not sleep on her. I already told you that Fuliano was 5th last year.
Yep. We
have Andra Moistis and Aline Wirtz in this field that are both on that upward trajectory that we've been talking about. Tind broke out at this competition last year. There's a few lesser-known Europeans that are coming across, like Pernille Christensen, who's been very good in the online forum the last couple seasons. But overall, these Americans, Ariel Lowen, Danny Spiegels, that are used to being in the mix for podiums and top fives here, like they got to be on high alert because there's a big contingency of talented women from Europe coming, and most of them are in Miami.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to see what Hannah does too in this field.
The depth on the women's side is totally different than the men's side because you know you're mentioning Hannah, we haven't mentioned Janie or Lydia yet. Like
you haven't even said Emily Rolfe's name yet.
Emily Rolfe.
Yeah.
I think it's like, I mean, and I've also heard that Ellie Turner is as fit as she's been since she competed at the CrossFit Games.
Yeah.
So, and you know, she went to SoCal and she did 2 workouts and then withdrew. As far as I can tell, the only thing that's a concern for her is the heavy lifting. Now, 20% of the comes down to heavy lifting, but it's in a format that you can regulate that.
Mm-hmm.
You're not forced to go to a heavy clean on a lat or something like that.
Well, the thing is, you know who else is kind of handicapped by that is Lucy as well. So if she can stay close to Lucy, she's not losing any ground off of that, especially when you have like the Danny Spiegels and Hannah Blacks who will probably win that going away, you know, in some form or you know, some form. So she's not really losing any points if Ellie competes like I mean, remember Ellie, you know, she kind of came into the scene at Wodapalooza back in 2021, I believe, you know, you know, so who knows if she can come back to that form of her. We're looking at a hell of a comeback year. I mean, we don't really do a comeback athlete of the year, but it's been like comeback athlete from the last 3 years because it's taken her that long. And I was really impressed. And she seems, talking to people that know her, she seems very confident.
We would say that was Lucy Campbell last year, and she set the tone for the season at Wodapalooza. So maybe Ellie Turner can do something similar. The last thing I want to mention about the individual fields is Mariana Mesa on the women's side and Bernardo Costa on the women's side, because this is the third edition or version of the LATAM Cup that Wodapalooza has integrated to their competitions. And they've created a separate Instagram, WZA LATAM, that's follow. If you're interested in what's going on in terms of competitive fitness in South America, the WZA LATAM Cup is the best way to follow that on like a global platform. Obviously, you can follow all the individual competitions, but they've taken winners or top placers from all of those. They sent them into an online qualifier. And then the top athlete in the online qualifier, which were Bernardo and Mariana, got an invite into this field of 20 to represent Latin America. The next 10 were invited into the LATAM Cup, which will be taking place basically the same time on the same stages across those 2 days. So this is a little, I like this, that if you're the best, if you qualify in and do the best in the online semifinal, you get a chance, because Mariana Mesa's won the LATAM Cup the last 2 years. I am very excited to see how well she can do against a field like this, because she was kind of dominant last year. And I would say that for her, like as we just talked about, this field is 15 deep of very talented women at least. There's a couple maybe lesser knowns like Jess Green and Martina Barini who maybe they can surprise. But if Mariana Mesa's even 12th this weekend, that's a really, really good finish.
You did say 20. I'll correct you on there and say it's 19. The reason why is Annika Greer withdrew. She was in that spot, and obviously if Annika was in this field, she'd definitely be one of the favorites. We were top 10 WFP, top 10 at the games. So we don't know if they're going to fill that position, backfill from the RX division, or invite somebody. So as soon as we hear, I'm sure you guys will hear it as well. So, but yeah, right now, so we're looking at a field of 19, potentially adding a 20th there. So, yeah.
Let's just let's roll into the elite teams, but not the workouts.
Okay.
The workouts are kind of crazy.
Yeah, we don't have that much time.
And we didn't really want to go past an hour tonight. I'd rather look at the athletes, and we'll break down the workouts. If you guys have joined late, I'll be on site. Patrick will be on site, Kate Lawrence and John Young, and we're going to be putting on some pre and post shows
with guests,
with several guests before and after most of the workouts throughout the weekend. So we'll get a chance to get into the workouts for sure.
All right. Teams of 3 men, man, there are some names in here, and they're spread. I mean, just like typical Wodapalooza, you know, you're going to have a lot of these hard hitters, and, you know, kind of right off the bat, we're going to have to go with Team Go Wad in terms of star power, Jason Hopper, Justin Medeiros, Dallin Pepper. You can't sleep on the boys. These are guys who, this is the same team. They're running it back. They've won this twice with this particular team. Last year they were kind of slept on. They have a little bit chip on their shoulder. Noah, Travis, huh?
Slept on by who?
I'm not saying her name. But right now, I mean, those are the two teams I'm kind of looking at. It's kind of like the old guard versus the new guard.
I gotta just throw Jorge Fernandez Saxon.
Oh no, we'll get to that. I just want to talk with those guys right now. It's like you have the old guard against the new guard right here, and those. It's very interesting because if you think about it, these are three athletes who declined their WFP card against basically three guys. Well, two of the three that are WFP athletes, with Noah probably going for his pro card this year. So there's a lot of intrigue and storylines right here.
There are, but I mean, I think if I'm anybody else in this field, I'm looking at him saying, if I want to get on the podium, those are the three teams. Throwing that RX Smart Gear team.
Yeah. So talk about that. You're really high on them.
I am. And I mean, this is Jorge Fernandez, Saxon Panchik, and Gymreapers. And obviously, Guy had a great season with WFP last year and has been top 10 at the games before. Saxon's been top 10 at the games before. But all three of these athletes, in my opinion, this format just works for them. Mm-hmm. I would say they are better in this team of three format at Wodapalooza than any of them are individually at any individual comp all season long, year in and year out. And even though on paper, you wouldn't pick these three guys to beat anyone in the GoWad team, the way that these workouts happen, these athletes are like tailor-made for this team stuff. Don't forget that Jorge's won the CrossFit Games on a team, and we will get to the workouts over the weekend, but you'll see that there's a few workouts that it's high execution and an opportunity to flex on some of the skills that team has. So I think they're in the mix. I do think after that it's a very, very fun field.
Yes.
It's probably on the men's side, like another 7 or 8 teams who I think have a legitimate claim to thinking they can finish in the top 5 here. And that if everything goes well, maybe beat one of those teams. But most of them are like 2 that you kind of know are good and 1 that you're not sure.
Yeah.
Or they're just kind of raw competition experience wise, which obviously matters. But I'm, one of the teams I'm looking at is, of course, the Norwegian Krieger boys. Mm-hmm. Andreas has been competing a bunch. Henrik Negord has been improving a ton, and Benjamin Bouillard is on that team. He's been coaching primarily, but still competes every once in a while. And the team that I'm really curious about is the Sentinel Boys Who Cry.
With Logan, Grant, and Mason. Yeah, I think that's a very interesting team. We'll see what happens. I mean, Mason has a lot of confidence coming in right now, and I think that's really good, and it'll kind of help him out. He did get to invite to Mayhem, so he's got a lot of eyes on him. That team will have a lot of eyes on him for so I'd like them. And then I think the Romans 828 and the CrossFit 1124 is another 2 teams that you might keep. There's some experience with Tyler Cook on a CrossFit 1124. The Romans 828, you have the twins.
Oh, don't forget Brandon Smith on that team also coming off.
I know, yeah.
To the coast, and has basically said that they're, him and Tyler are teaming up this year and coming after a games podium spot or championship, even is what he said.
Yeah.
They need to be able to compete here. They don't have the podium, but I think that they should be thinking, as several of these teams should, that if we don't finish top 5, it wasn't the weekend we came for. Yeah.
I mean, there's like you said, there's names where on these teams where some of the 1 or 2 of the names, and then there's like a third. I mean, but there's I'd like to give a shout out to Charles Angels and
yeah, dude, I was gonna say that because Keegan hates me so much. I need to.
Yeah. I told him top 20. He needs to finish top 20 with this team.
I was going to say, I think they can. I don't think they'll finish 20th. So
okay, that's good. But shoot, you got Quinn Robinson. That's a name you're going to hear a lot of over the course of this season. And then we stepped on Legos. That's a very intriguing team. Again, because this is they're running it back. as a team that just kind of made it, introduced themselves a couple of years ago or last year, and they're coming back for it. Team Colombia, Nicolas Bidon.
There's a team from France on here. They're called the French Mimimois, I guess.
Yeah. Yep.
Romain Fellanou, Pierre
Mhm.
Demule, Diego Calderon. I know all three of these guys. They're very
Glad you do.
very small, very, very, very good gymnastics.
Yeah.
And a decent amount of competition experience. So like that's probably a team that most people don't know, especially in North America. But these are talented, guys out of France. So
probably the most entertaining team you're probably going to see is the undertrained and overconfident team with Joe and Zane, and that'll be a fun team to watch. So
it's a fun division. I think there's a clear top three. Not saying they're guaranteed podium spots, and then a big group behind that should be fairly competitive to watch. Again, I feel like the prize money hasn't been announced. A lot of times it's just top three for teams. Mm-hmm. This is a case where I wish it was 5, because if you finish 4th or 5th, you have had a very good 2 days of competition.
Yeah. Switch over to the women. This women field, just like the, kind of like the men's.
I think it's a little bit like tighter at the top, like more.
Yes, very. We're kind of looking at 3 teams on the men. We're looking at maybe 5, maybe 6 women here. I mean, maybe more. I mean, let's just go ahead and start off with the Just Girls team with Gabby making her return to live competition. I think it's a smart move for her, do something fun, low stress, just kind of get out there, get some of the nerves out. She's going to be team up with Paige Rogers and Alexis Raptis. I think that's a team to look at. You have Iron Maidens, Annika Greer, Cindy McClish, Jessie Smith. You have the Yeti girls, Danielle Brandon, Alex Gazan, Emily Rolfe. Danielle Brandon trying to repeat as team champion. And then, those are the 3 main teams. I'm trying to think if there's someone else I missed there.
Well, I'll throw some other teams in the mix.
Yeah,
here.
We'll throw other teams, but those are the ones you probably know because of the talent on those teams. And between those 3 teams, what are you looking for out of those 3 teams that I just named?
A super tight race. I think what we saw last year is that the team that looks like the obvious one on paper is not necessarily the one that wins. And that's kind of what we were seeing with Jorge and Saxon as well. Mm-hmm. You mentioned that DB won last year. Well, she had Emma Lawson, who was Emma Lawson?
It was Emma Lawson and Shelby Neal.
And Emma Lawson was kind of an unknown. She withdrew from the individual to preserve the back for the team. And Shelby Neal, you wouldn't think that she would be beating several of the other girls that were on the podium or even off the podium, but they did. And that's like the cool part about this competition is, yes, there's a certain amount of fitness that your team has to have to be in the mix. But once you're in the mix, it's not inherently obvious what the best team is. So I think I like the only knock on Emily Rolfe, Danielle Brandon, and Alex Gazan is that Emily will have done the individual competition.
Oh, yeah, true. Yep.
Whereas the other 2 teams that you mentioned, none of them at this point are doing that. But I haven't found that to be as costly as we first thought when this system rolled out. And Emily is very savvy in competition and manages herself very well.
Very well, yeah.
From eat, nutrition, sleeping, body work. And I don't think she'd be signing up for both of these if she just wasn't feeling like she could do both of them.
Yeah.
So
I do want to give a shout to Iron Maiden's team. That I love the name of their team because all 3 of them are metalheads. So that's great. I love that.
There's just to satisfy Angelo DeChico's need to, I don't know, put down Europe for some reason. There's 2 teams out of Europe that I think are extremely relevant here.
Yes.
The first one is Team UFP, Astrid Tind, Mia Furu, and Rebecca Wittesen. Astrid's team finished on the podium last year. Nobody was talking about them. Mm-hmm. And this is a better team. Rebecca Wittesen was not very happy with me and John when we didn't have her in our top 100. And quite frankly, we forgot because she didn't compete at all last year. If she's come back to compete, she will definitely be in the top 100 globally. I think that is a team that's very sneaky that can podium. And then, of course, you have Krieger, Lena Richter, Rika Kivog, and Veshlemoy Kolstad. Good amount.
That's a good team.
Blended with some youth. You had kind of the veteran and Lena, the kind of experience with Vesh Lemoy and the up-and-comer with Rika. So
Okay, yeah.
those are the two teams out of Europe that I think are definite podium threats.
Well, then I'm going to stick to Andrew's good side here and talk about some of the U.S. teams here. Mayhem, and starting off with Mayhem Platinum, you got Jessica Androsic, Kenzie Campbell, and Lindsay Lane. Platinum because of Platinum Blonde girls. These are all women that are competing on Mayhem teams this year. I think that's really cool. And then that's a team to kind of look at because they all have team experience. Another one is Bad and Bougie, Sydney Smith, Trissa Smith, and Brittany Weiss. I'm not sure if Brittany's actually doing it. I think I'm not sure if she's actually doing it.
I was curious about that because her training is for something completely different now.
Yeah.
If they replace her, I mean, look at the other two women. Like they'll be able to find a decent replacement. Depending on if they replace Brittany and who it is, they could instantly become a threat for that final podium spot.
100%. I think even with Brittany, even with her team experience
like this, but she's not strong. She's not strong enough to keep up with the rest of the field right now, and that's on purpose. So I don't like their chances for podium. If they'll have a great time, she's still super fit, but I don't like their chances for a top 5 with her. But I wouldn't blame them if they keep her. I mean, she's super fun to compete with. But
and then you have another set of kind of teams after that, that obviously have potential. I mean, I look at the AGH team. There's a name on there, Gabby McClellan. We haven't seen in a while. Miss Space Force, it is. I mean, she kind of burst on the scene at what was it? Was it Syndicate? Where she was up to the last day. She was up, had a game spot, and just kind of fell apart. But then she's been dealing with some injuries, and she's been really busy with her career in the Space Force. Heidi Hagen is someone that we've seen compete in some of the regional competitions. That's a very interesting team to keep an eye out. I think what other team was there? I mean, Army Warrior Fitness team, Katie Cunningham, Marie Dawkin, they've been doing this for a while. They're on a team that actually qualified for the Far East Throwdown. I think the Latin Ass team, there's a Sasha Nueves, right? She had a baby. She was supposed to be on a team 2 years ago that unfortunately had a teammate.
Their team name.
What's that?
You just wanted to say their team name.
I mean, whatever. But Sasha was, they had a team out of Mexico, right? That was supposed to, and they had a teammate that popped hot, and unfortunately, they couldn't go on. So it'd be nice. It's nice to see Sasha back on the competition floor.
I just like that you brought that up because the other thing that's really cool about this competition, I mentioned 2 European teams that I thought could potentially podium. But you also have Team Sertan, 3 women out of Sweden. You have Team JFS, 3 women out of Denmark. You got Brazilian Heat, 3 women out of Brazil. You got Latin Action, and then you have Aussie Grit. And the thing about Wodapalooza that's continued to be true is that people from all over the world travel here for this competition, even in year 14. And even with all the different things that are going on, change of venue, change of sponsor, change of location, Australia showing up, Latin America showing up, Europe showing up, of course, all over the US is showing up. I still don't see any other competition in the world that rivals Wodapalooza in terms of global impact on competitive fitness weekend.
Yeah, well said. I mean, they continue to do it. I mean, this is where a lot of the exposure I get to athletes. It started at Wodapalooza. I mean, first time I saw some of the Korean athletes, they had a team here back in 2019 or 2021. They had a team. It's fun. It's fun to see them fly all around the world to go to one location in Miami and just have fun. I mean, most of these women probably want to finish in the podium. But the reality is they probably won't, but they're still going to have fun at it. At the end of the day, that Monday morning, you're probably going to see all these women and all those guys on the beach. They're probably not flying out, especially international athletes. They're probably not flying out till probably Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah. I mean, you got to do it if you're making that big of a trip. Enjoy a couple of days in Miami afterwards, especially in March. It's the best time of the year in Florida, usually. So,
yeah. And then you got ethics going on that weekend. Some might just stick around and do the ethics,
Well, we wanted to keep this to about an hour. We wanted to make sure to get this show in before we head to Miami. But if you guys are in the mood, Wad Prep's about to go live. They'll have a great show tonight. Boys Interrupted, I'm sure, was a good show. Appreciate those that stayed with us. and be on the lookout for a schedule for our pre and post shows from on site there. Me and John will be hosting them, and be on the lookout for our picks on Thursday. First of 4 competitions are going head to head this year.
Yeah, it's fun. It'll be. I'm really excited. A lot of people will be on site. A lot of cool guests we'll have on the show. I'll be there. Kate will be there. We'll hopefully be getting some athlete interviews, some behind the scenes type stuff. I'm pumped up about this year. Last year was rough, man. It was rough.
I made you do a job you didn't want to do. So.
Well, no, it was just. I was also like, flying over from Germany and then having to fly back the next day and stuff like that. So, just having some fun this time around. Low stress. It'll be really cool. Can't wait, especially after the week I've had. It'd be nice to kind of just go to the beach and have some fun. So, but hopefully, if you're going to be in Miami, make sure you come by the experience stage. Download the app. The app you can tag things and get reminders and alerts on anything you want to do, whether it be events or watching us up on stage. Again, it's going to be fun. Us partnering up with the Barbell Spin, you and John up on the same stage, bunch of guests in Miami. It should be fun. Hopefully, we see you guys there. If not, make sure you comment in a live stream during the show. Those guys will make sure they have a laptop up so that way they're seeing some of the comments. Maybe they might even answer some of them, or I'll pull them up in the back for you guys. So, but with that being said, a lot of, again, it seems like I say this all the time, a lot of crazy stuff going on in the world. But at the end of the day, it's like we're human, and it's a lot easier and a lot more fulfilling to be nice to people than show hate. So with that being said, be friendly, our friends.